How's it going, people? Sam and Slapper here, and this is a quick little update video. Yesterday this was posted on the front page pretty much, and it's about legacy mode in a nutshell. Basically the beta for legacy mode is going to be coming on the 16th of June, which is pretty much Monday. So on Monday you can log into the beta servers if you are a member. Pretty sure it's open to all members as far as I know. And if you still haven't heard of legacy mode, then well, legacy mode's a way of playing the modern game but with the kind of old school pre-EOC looks and feel, without having to learn like the EOC system or use it at all. It's basically an optional mode. You're not forced to use it, but you can if you want, kind of thing. You can switch it on and off whenever you want, so you can choose when and when you don't want to use it. So some of the basic stuff that it covers, well, legacy mode is traditional RuneScape with no abilities whatsoever. Interfaces are styled from the pre-RuneScape 3/EOC, and they're going to be resizable as well as fixed. Additionally, you have the old style minimap icons, and life points are back to a maximum of 990. Additionally, legacy mode does have some smaller tweaks, which I've actually got up here somewhere. So these are the features where they go a little bit more in depth to explain them all for you, so yeah, here we go. So, legacy combat. Our primary aim with legacy mode was to bring back the old style of combat focused around auto attacks and special attacks only. Legacy mode strips out all abilities and increases auto attack damage to competitive levels. Basically, you've got momentum on, basically. Yeah. Of course, this is still a modern game, so the character graphics and animations are current, and the newer equipment is of course available as well. They're adding old interfaces. Legacy mode contains old style fixed and resizable interfaces which bring back the old look and behaviour from before the new interface system was introduced. You can still access the newer hero, gear, adventures, powers and social interfaces through the main menu by pressing escape though. Legacy mode also scales down the visual representation of life points, effectively dividing it by 10. It's still the same amount of damage actually being dealt as well as taken under the hood, but the numbers are smaller and more comfortable for players who preferred it from before. Basically, it's a bit less in depth on how much HP and stuff you've got. Hit marks. We've also changed the visuals of the hit markers you see when giving or receiving damage, so they were the same as what they were to pre-OC. Your minimap icons are also going to be the same as before. Your F keys, you can quick switch F key commands back, allowing maximum efficiency when it comes to skilling and slaying. Switch between interface tabs with easy to reach F keys. Provoke is an important ability in EOC for tackling some of the newer bosses. We've added the provoke function to shields from level 80+. Legacy players can access this important combat feature should they want to try their skills in higher end PVM. Additionally, there's going to be legacy only game worlds. When legacy is launched in the live game, it will include legacy only game worlds where players are locked into using legacy mode whilst on that server. This should be most useful for players who want to level the playing field for PvP, etc. The other thing worth mentioning is they're also going to be changing combat as a whole across the board, so EOC as well as legacy mode. So here we go, your special attacks, they're coming, which have been in beta for God knows how long now. Special attacks are back and available in both EOC and legacy modes. We've tried to make them as close to the originals as possible, both in look and in functionality. The EOC, you can think of them as weapon specific abilities, a whole new layer of combat options now at your disposal. For legacy players though, we hope that they're just as you remember. Additionally, the 138 combat level is coming back. As voted back in February, we're changing the combat calculation to its earlier form of 138. We've tweaked it to give equal contribution to ranged and magic though. These combat styles are now equally recognised in the combat formula. Basically, before, if you don't even know what the 128 combat is, once upon a time ago, before the 200 was max level, it was 138, and it combined every single combat skill, so attack, strength, defense, HP, prayer, range, mage, and summoning. All of those kind of work together to give you a combat level, which is pretty awesome. But the thing was, melee kind of, well, since there was that many skills for melee, it kind of made it very easy to get fairly high combat if you was doing melee. Whereas if you was a mage or a range, then your combat level would be relatively low, even if you had 99 in them, for example. So what they've done is modified that just slightly, so instead of it mainly being towards melee, adding most of the combat level, it's now kind of equal across the board. So yeah, makes a bit more sense. Strength bonuses, we are also bringing back the pre-EOC system of strength bonuses. This will replace the current critical hit chance feature. We found the critical hits didn't fit as naturally into the game as strength bonuses once did, and many players were engaged with this aspect of combat and gear. Additionally, life points from armor. This change means more of your life point total will come from your stats rather than your armor. You'll still have the same effective total health, but armor will be less of a contributing factor. All low to mid-level armors have had life point bonuses removed, with reduced bonuses on higher level armor and shields. This will mean that the outcome of PvP is more influenced by your stats and skills rather than who has the best armor in the game. Though of course your gear is obviously going to be very important. This I kind of like. Well, since I've been leveling the Nubcake, and as you know my main is max, I come to realise the difference between trying to kill stuff in lower level gear and killing stuff with max gear. I've even been on Salmon and tried killing bosses with low level gear as well, and the health, granted, isn't a massive bonus, but the difference between, let's say, Addy or Rune, for example, some like mid-level gear, Barrows even, and then you compare it to something like Tectonic or something along those lines, and the HP bonus isn't just like, wow, you got 1k more HP than me. It's more like you have 3, 4, 5k more than me. So yeah, it does make quite a massive difference when you're fighting stuff that can batter the shit out of you. So yeah, kinda like that one, gotta be said. Another thing they're doing is rebalancing and reinforcing the combat triangle. The bonuses and penalties apply when fighting across the different styles of melee range and magic. We are slightly relaxing these bonuses and penalties. Again, the main benefit of this is for PvP, where players in the wrong gear will still have a competitive chance. It's also useful when monster killing too, as players can feel they have more flexibility to pick and choose from different combinations of gear, even if it's not all in the matching combat style. So that's going to need a little bit of testing. The best way to think of that is once upon a time ago when everyone did DKs, you used to take up like 3 different gear sets. You still do now, but basically at the beginning you used to use like a Staff of Light and then wear full Guthans, and you'll have the Guthan Spear on you to heal. That was the old way of doing DKs. So yeah, could be worth having a little gander at this to see if it's, as they say, more balanced and they've relaxed it a little bit, because right now if you're wearing the wrong gear and you've got a different weapon, yeah, you're completely screwed pretty much. Also changing the armor requirements. For Evolution of Combat we wanted to make armor levels more consistent, but that had an unintended consequence on PvPers, where it broke their specialist character builds. We're keen to revive an exciting PK community, so we're returning the requirements for lower level armors to their previous levels. Wound will require 40 defense, Addy 30, Mithril 20, and so on, all the way back down to Iron with its level 1 defense requirement, rather than what it is now. Can't say that bothers me in particular. Weapon animation changes. Looks aren't everything, but some iconic animations which were lost with Evolution of Combat. Some of you felt these were more readable in fast-paced PvP situations. While we're not able to make wholesale changes to combat animations, we have changed back a few specific animations for popular PK weapons, including the old Maul, Dragon Two-Hander, and Whip. Additionally, the old ancient magic animations come along with that as well. Barrow's armor is going to get visually changed once more. Similar to the animation changes, some of the newer armor designs lost some of their iconic quantities? That seems a bit wrong. Qualities, probably. And became harder to recognise at a glance in PvP situations. With that in mind, we've made tweaks to the modern Barrow's gear so they bear greater resemblance to their original looks. Your feedback said this was especially important for well-known PK equipment like Dark's set, but all Barrow's gear has had these tweaks applied. Your prayer icon changes will now be visible above players, so it's clearer what prayers they're using. We've also made subtle changes to icons for protect and defect players, so they are less likely to be misread. Thank fuck for that. We've achieved this by returning the elements of the previous icon design, so now they're more distinct and more reminiscent of the earlier design. Following your feedback, we've increased the protection prayers to 50% damage mitigation in PvP, up from 25%. However, we are not changing from the 50% already in place from protection from monsters. Good. Ability balancing. Careful tuning and tweaking has been done to address imbalances across the combat abilities. This is to ensure more of the abilities are actually useful and a wider range of rotations and tactics are viable. And so, the different combat styles are equally good. Your damage output potential isn't being reduced, however. Saradomin Brews. Oh my god. Improved healing will make Sarah Brews much more useful again, but improving the amount of life points they heal per dose. So you'll want to take them to the toughest of boss fights once again. That's quite interesting. It could very well be that everyone goes back to brewing if they've improved it that much. Yeah. Food healing has changed slightly in light of your feedback. Food heal values have been increased slightly, and rather than using up adrenaline, eating food triggers a short, single-cycle attack delay. This means eating food doesn't disrupt adrenaline build as much, but also isn't completely free of consequence. It also adds more skill into the mix because a well-timed eat can bypass this one cycle delay. And lastly, you have monster aggression. We've changed the behavior of many monsters to make them aggressive to players that get in close proximity. About fucking time. This makes the game world less inert and also means combat skill training could be slightly lower intensity. There's really only one way to find out what Legacy Mode offers in full, and that's by logging in and participating in our beta, which goes live on Monday the 16th of June. Keep your eyes peeled for a news post from the community management too, detailing loads of beta-specific game events as well as competitions. So there we go, that's pretty much everything, to be totally honest. That's what this update covers, which honestly isn't particularly a small amount, let's be honest. So I suppose the main thing to mention is the 138 combat is coming back. All I can say to that is happy days. The strength bonuses are back instead of crit rate. I don't really know what to feel on that one, gotta be said. It didn't particularly bother me. Can't say I really bothered with crit rate in the game at the moment, so yeah, either way. The life points from armor is being lowered slightly, and more of your life points will come from your stats. That is pretty nice, I kinda like that. Balancing the combat triangle, whatever. Higher armor requirements, don't particularly care. Weapon animations, nope. Barrels animation, nope. Prayer icon changes. I don't know about you, but for whatever reason, whenever I chuck on prayers, or I actually have to look at them instead of just quick praying, I can never work out which one is actually protection magic, rather than this boosts attack. Yes. It's about time they fucking did that. Protection prayers can be modded for PvPers, good times, wherever. I don't care, don't PvP. Ability balancing, they're making more abilities kind of decent rather than just shockingly shit. So yeah, you do have that. Sour brews have been improved. Yeah, really don't know what to think of that. I kind of like the fact that when food came along and it's now healing quite a lot, there's kind of like the mainstay. But bringing back booze, that's gonna cost quite a bit. I dare say the prices of that shit is gonna fucking skyrocket. So yeah, there we go. Food is healing slightly more, and they've got rid of the adrenaline loss on food. Happy days, although you do now have a attack delay after munching, which I suppose kind of sucks. And finally, last but not least, probably the best one of the lot, is monsters can actually aggro again. Once upon a time ago in RuneScape, before EOC, and they've changed everything to fucking some stupid reason, there were a number of things that actually aggroed, which you may or may not know if you're a new player. Yeah. Monsters did actually attack you without you attacking them. Can you fucking believe it? And apparently they're going to be bringing that back. Good times. So yeah, with that said, I'm pretty sure that's everything. If you want to find this page and you want to look over it yourself, that's easy enough. If you just go onto the main page, so you're on the main RuneScape page, you just come down, go into the Legacy Mode Beta, it's coming the 16th of June, and then scroll down a little bit and you have find out the details on the forums right here. Just click on that and it takes you to this page. There's also a frequently asked questions down the bottom with a lot more information if you are interested in all of that. Goes a little bit more in depth from people asking questions and stuff like that. So there we go. There is your update for today. Quest guide was meant to be today. Probably tomorrow. If not, then the entire of next week. We'll see what happens. Until next time, people, I will catch you all later. Have a good one.